Well, this was unexpected. Did not see this coming in the slightest, especially at this stage in the season. But yeah, hello everybody, Tyler Rowlinson here. Welcome to a new video on the channel. Yeah, Lee Bowyer has resigned as Charlton athletic manager. He's gone. He is out of here. And I am shocked. It's certainly come out of nowhere. I didn't expect this news to come so soon. I think it was something that was coming though eventually. I think it was inevitable, but yeah, it's just the shock of it really. It's just the shock and it coming just out of nothing, coming out of nowhere, that has caused this surprise when I shouldn't really be, because like I said, it was coming for a while now. But yeah, it's happened. Lee Bowyer is no longer Charlton manager. I guess we'll start off by reading the official statement, which came out literally just a couple of minutes ago. It was publicly told by Richard Corley a few hours ago. He said that he'd heard that this had happened. He tried to chase it up, and he said that Bowyer said first thing this morning in training that that he was off, basically, and then it was all just spread about the place, and only now the club have confirmed what we basically already knew, in that Bowyer is gone. So allow me to read you the statement. Lee Bowyer has resigned as manager of Charlton Athletic. Bowyer took over as caretaker manager in 2018, leading the club to the League One playoffs 2 years in a row, resulting in the club's promotion to the Championship in 2019. Following relegation last summer, the Addicts sit 8th in League One. Owner Thomas Sandgaard said, "I would like to thank Lee for everything he has done for Charlton. I have enjoyed working with him and wish him the best for the future. Our focus now is finding the correct replacement to take this club forward." Bowyer said, "It was a difficult decision to leave. Everybody knows how I feel about this club and could have gone before, but I felt it was the right thing to do, to stay and help the club through the tough times we've been through. We've had some amazing times and some tough times. It has been emotional leaving. I would like to thank all of the players that I have worked with and the staff for the hours and hours of hard work that they did. I also want to thank the supporters. We wouldn't have had those great memories without them. The club is now in a place with a good owner that cares and wants to improve the place, and I hope the club can continue to grow. It will always hold a special place in my heart. Assistant manager Johnny Jackson will take the team for Tuesday's home game against Bristol Rovers." So, there is the club statement. Lee Bowyer has resigned. He has not been sacked, he has resigned. It was his decision. I've always thought that, I've said in previous videos that I thought that Bowyer was going to remain at the club until the end of the season, basically, and then a decision would be taken by Sandgaard to go, because I always thought that it was Bowyer's intention to stay. I never thought that it was going to be a case of him moving on his own accord. But yeah, it was his decision. It was his decision to leave. He has resigned. It's officially been confirmed today that he will be succeeding Aitor Karanka at Birmingham City. That's where he's going. Obviously, Birmingham were interested in him in the summer after Pep Clotet got sacked, or sorry, when he left the club in the summer. Bowyer was linked with that job, and he said in that statement there, and he said previously, that he could well have gone to Birmingham there and then. There is some questions that I raise about the move, about him going to Birmingham. To me, the only reason I can see him going there, or the reason why I think he's gone there, is for a bigger contract, is for a bigger pay. Because if you really think about it, Birmingham are in the thick of a relegation battle once again in the Championship, and could very well go down to League One. So, by all accounts, we could be playing Birmingham next season in League One. The only reason I think Bowyer has gone to Birmingham is a crack at the Championship again, and to have a bigger pay. Obviously, he has played with Birmingham previously, so he has connections there as well. So that's probably another reason why he could well have gone. And not to mention, do have their ownership problems as well. And obviously, Bowyer knows full well what it's like to be under a club with poor ownership. He was under us, manager of us for the 3 seasons that he was here. You know, dire ownership constantly. So in that respect, it is quite bizarre that he has made the move to Birmingham. But as I've said, I don't really blame him for it, because it is another crack at the Championship, and more than likely they'd offer him more money. I said at the start of this video it was a long time coming. You know, it's sort of become inevitable, but now that it has actually happened, and especially still into the season, I am surprised that he has taken the decision to leave, and a decision has not been taken by the top of the club. I think most of you will probably know what my opinion is, and that is, I mean, like I said, it was inevitable, but I think that it was a long time coming, and I think that something fresh was needed at this point in the season. This year, even though we've said from the start, you know, oh, it's a write-off and things like that, and it was always going to be a free hit at Bowyer, and it was always going to be tough. This year, it just hasn't worked out, and I think this season he had been made out as a manager. He had been worked out. People had sussed him out, and it just didn't work out. You know, tactically proved himself to be quite inept and naive. Constant rotation of the squad and formation changes. Constant battering of the squad in post-match interviews, and the stuff that he said in post-match interviews was barbaric, to say the least, sometimes. And I think something fresh was needed, because like I've said throughout this season on multiple occasions, we have not been good this season. The performances really have been poor. So many times this season have we seen that long ball tactic, that uninspiring, very lethargic, with little effort performances. We've seen it far too many times this season. And I think that something fresh was needed. You know, we need a new manager with some new ideas that can sort of ignite the creativity that we saw under Bowyer right at the start of his managerial tenure. You know, remember when he took over from Cole Robinson, his first game in charge against Plymouth, he played a 4-4-2 formation, and that game was just outstanding. I remember watching that game. That will definitely be a game that will live with me, and I will remember from Bowyer's time, that match against Plymouth when we won 2-0. The intensity and the energy that we saw in that team was incredible. And let's not forget that 2018-19 team. We've said it throughout this season, you know, our attacking ability and our attacking presence has been poor throughout this season. I think that it's something that we've needed for a long time. And I think that now that it has actually happened and that Bowyer is now gone, now is the time to bring in someone with a fresh idea and hopefully can play attacking style of football. As you saw by the statement, Johnny Jackson will be in charge of the team for tomorrow's game against Bristol Rovers, which makes it very interesting now to see how that works out. And literally, having just seen what's been said on Twitter by both the club and Richard Cawley, it's been confirmed that Thomas Sandgaard will be making a new appointment come the end of next week. So we should have someone in charge permanently by our game at Plough Lane against AFC Wimbledon over the weekend. So Jacko will take charge tomorrow against Bristol Rovers. I will be watching that game, and I will be watching it with intrigue and with interest to see where we go, because Sandgaard did say that his number one priority is to bring in someone long term, but he did also mention that plan B is to bring in someone on an interim basis until the end of the season and then make a decision. Now, personally, I would like us to go with that plan B option, you know, give it to someone until the end of the season, because ultimately this season is done for us. I think that even though we are still relatively close to the playoffs, well, not relatively, we are very close to the playoffs. We're 2 points off the playoffs, but obviously teams having games in hand, you know, they will eventually pull away. It would be nice for someone to get the job that's already in our setup until the end of the season, see what they can do, and then we can properly decide in the summer where we want to go, because I saw this opinion on Twitter. Someone said that, you know, making an appointment this quickly does seem quite rushed, and that we're just doing it just for the sake of bringing in a manager, when ultimately in the summer we're going to be going for a rebuild anyway. Like I said previously, and what, like Benji Nurick said it in a previous game, I think it was against Gillingham, I'm not entirely sure, but he said that half of our current team will not be here next season. And I did say in response to that that will be the case more than likely, and also we could well have a new managerial change. Now that the managerial change has already happened, it may well be the case of us not necessarily needing to rush into a decision, into bringing in someone long term. Like, personally, I would be more than happy to have Johnny Jackson, in charge of the club until the end of the season, and then judging by how he does, if he gets us top six or if the performances improve, we can then make the decision to whether give him the job full time. Not even Jacko, but there's also another candidate in our setup, Jason Yule, who I would have liked to have taken over into the end of the season, but with Jacko now taking over the Bristol Rovers game, it probably will be more than likely that Jacko will be interim manager if Sangard goes with a plan B option, and Jason Yule could well stay as under 23s coach or will become Jackson's number 2 until the end of the season. But I would like us to go with that plan B option and see where we go from there, because like I said, we've got a massive summer rebuild ahead and this season is done, so it's basically just a case of let's just see what someone can do already in our setup, and then we can go from there and make a decision in the summer. But if Sangard is to go ahead with the permanent managerial option, it's going to be interesting to see who that is. Whether he appoints Jackson or Jason Yule on a permanent basis is to be seen. Personally, I don't think Sangard will appoint either one of those permanently right here, right now. I think it probably will be a case of, the permanent manager will be in charge and then Jacko will be number 2, and then Yule will stay on and now set up as the under-23s coach. But yeah, I don't think Jacko and Yule will be appointed permanently right here, right now. There's also been shouts of, Alan Kirbishley. A lot of people have said that they would love him to come back. I'd take Kirbishley back in a heartbeat. I would take him back most definitely. Does he still have the tools? Does he still have it in him now? Because it's been a long time since Kirbishley was in a managerial role. If he isn't to take over as club's manager, I think more than likely he will have some role in the club, whether that is he's a mentor for someone or he does take on some sort of position at the club. I think that will more than likely happen. There has been one that has been suggested quite a lot by the fan base, and personally there is not a chance that this will happen, and that of course is Chris Wilder. Obviously just left Sheffield United. Obviously there is the story of Chris Wilder, how he very nearly actually joined Charlton back in 2016 before he took over the Sheffield United job and we got Russell Slade. Wilder nearly became our manager, and obviously we know what he did with Sheffield United. He took them from a League One side and took them to a Premier League team. I do not see him, not a chance in hell, stepping down from a Premiership club all the way down to League One. He has spoken highly of us, how we produce young players. So if Wilder is to come in, which as I've said is very unlikely and probably not a chance in hell that it does happen, but allow me to dream here. If Wilder is to take over, he will bring in younger talent. He will play our creative, attacking, younger players, because he's spoken highly of our academy in the past, and he said that he does like our club and he does admire them. So, with us being available, that could be a pull factor for Wilder, but like I said, I would consider it unlikely. As for other options, you got the Cowley brothers out there. I don't really know. I don't know at this point who will be the permanent replacement for Bowyer if Sangard is to go with that option. And, it's just a case of whether he can pull those higher caliber people in. Chris Wilder will certainly be one of the top of that list, one of the top of the pile in terms of managers that are available. It's just whether Sangard can pull him down, which, as I've said, there is not a chance in hell that will happen in my opinion. But it may well be a case of, there aren't really a lot of permanent managers out there that we could realistically bring in. Yeah, there it is, people. There it is. Lee Bowyer has left Charlton Athletic. He has left the club. Like I've said, I'm not surprised that it has happened. I can't really complain that it has happened, because I do think that something was needed, a change was needed at the club. But what I don't agree with from our fan base is those that are celebrating his departure. Personally, I don't agree with that, and nor do I see any reason for people to do that, because I think all we can do in this moment is remember him and thank him for what he did for this club, because there is no question that overall his time at the club was a very good one and he did a very good job. That there is no question, and I will struggle to understand people that will debate that. I think that the job that he did was outstanding for the majority of his time at the club. He took over in 2018 from Cole Robinson. We were done at that point, still under the ownership of De Châtelet. We looked dead and buried, destined for League One football next season. We looked out of the playoff hunt, and against all the odds with 10 games to go, he got us in that top 6. We didn't go up, but the fact that he got us there with the team that we had, which was fairly mediocre at the time, was a remarkable achievement. And then, of course, the 2018-19 season, you know, to put together that team that we had, which I strongly believe was the best team in that league that season, and was one of, and is, and will always be one of the best teams this league has ever seen. The best team that I've seen as a supporter, and the best season that I have had. The playoff semi-final second leg against Doncaster, the greatest game of football I've ever seen. And then, of course, that day at Wembley. That incredible day at Wembley to get us promoted against all of the odds, you know, not spending a penny that season, you know, with dire ownerships. Last season, he gave it everything. He gave everything that he could possibly give. He didn't have just one, but 3 dire ownerships that season. He had an injury crisis. He had no budget. He had a transfer embargo. And many have argued that it was a relegation that we didn't deserve. You know, we should have stayed up that season. That's not me saying that we deserve to stay up that year. That's just some people that have raised that argument. But this season, it didn't work out. Ultimately, it just did not work out. And like I said at the start, he sort of got sussed out as a manager. And I think that a fresh change, a new start was needed at this club. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and celebrate the fact that he's gone, you know. Am I happy? Do I think it was the right decision that he's gone? Yeah, I do. Am I surprised? No. Am I complaining? Not really. But that doesn't give me a reason to celebrate, and I don't think that anyone should be celebrating his departure. I think that now is the time to say thank you for the memories and wish him all the best at his new job at Birmingham City, where I really hope that he succeeds there. I wish him nothing but the best, because what he did at this club was remarkable. It was admirable. He gave us hope. You know, he gave us that hope, and for the first time in a very long time, he brought the fans back since the Alan Curbishley era and the Chris Powell era. It was the first time since then that we actually felt like we were on a journey here and got the fans back on board. But ultimately, it just didn't work out this season, and it is a real shame that it had to end this way, but like I said, it was inevitable. This is a perfect chance for Sandgaard to make an appointment that will fit his ambition and will lead us forward. That is it, people. That is it. That is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, could you leave a like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you're notified of when I post. It still hasn't sunk in yet. It still hasn't really registered. Lee Bowyer has resigned. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. Let's get chatting. Who would you like to see come in? Do you think we should appoint someone permanently? Should we give Jacko until the end of the season and then make a decision? You let me know. It certainly is a shock. It come out of nowhere, but as I've said, I think it was inevitable and I think it was always going to happen. And now we will see what happens next. This has been Tyler Rowlinson. Have a nice day. And I'll see you all tomorrow for a video about the game against Bristol Rovers, Johnny Jackson's first game in charge, perhaps only game in charge. It will be an interesting watch to see how he sets us up and what we do. And it will also be very interesting to see what happens beyond that and what happens with the club. Take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all later.